A prompt went out on the Pastelome Discord server, and the prompt was statue status. You can pause and read the whole text on the screen, and now I will say what I came up with. So I actually came up with a few things for this, which are all like the same thing but different. So let me start talking about it. So, one idea I had was that in the king's palace, when you go to the throne room is depressed below the rest of the area. And to step down into it, there's 5 steps you have to step down to get to the throne room. The 5 steps symbolize the 5 castes in this culture. Each of these 5 steps are very wide enough to host a big statue. And the statue symbolizes the 5 castes of the culture. So the statue on the first step, as you go towards the king, is the one that symbolizes the masses, all the workers, the farmers, the tradespeople, whatever. The second step is the merchants, the people who go around between towns and trade and deal with money and things like that. The third step is the soldiers. The fourth step is the priests, and the fifth step is the royal family, which is very big. It's not like the immediate family of the king. It's like cousins and third cousins and fifth cousins. It's a big family. So that means that as you go down towards the king, you pass through, so to say, each increasingly elite caste. And the idea is that you go to the level of the king. So if you're like a peasant and you want to talk to the king, if you somehow get a meeting with the king, you go down, you go through the levels, so you get to see, where you are, and you get to, so to say, put yourself on the level of the king. Now, some people add an additional 3 small steps between each of the big 5 steps, because 3 is the king's number. Just like in our world, 666 is the devil's number, so they have 3 as the king's number. So you have 3 steps between each of the 5 steps. Just a little more symbolism. Now, that was one thing that I made, and I said I made a few things that are all similar. So the other thing I made was that there's 9 levels of divinity that everything that exists can be placed into. The 9 levels are the really strong gods, like on the Pantheon. Then there's the animistic spirits, kind of. Not sure what to call them. Then there's earth, like rocks, metals, jewels, and things like that. Then there is, I don't know what to call this. I guess I can call this monsters. Like supernatural animals, basically. If you believe that these are real, you would just consider them supernatural animals. They're not spirits, they're real things, but they have like supernatural powers. So, like a vampire, or like a unicorn, or something. Then there is the humans, or sentients. So, in this culture they believe in successive iterations of human-like creatures that the gods made, and the humans are just the latest ones in this treadmill of beings. And then there is plants, then there's animals, then they have liquid, so that's water. And then they have things that you can perceive but not really touch. So like fire, clouds, winds, air, light, temperature, smell, sound, things like that. In the system you see humans are in the middle, which is symbolic for them. And then you also, within each level, not everything is exactly the same level of divinity. There's still a hierarchy within each level. There's 9 main levels. Each level also has more levels inside of them, but these are the 9 main levels. So stairs in the main Pantheon temples that each city has come in units of 9 steps. And if you want to go less than 9 steps, they would probably just make it like very comparatively wide flat steps that are low, so it adds up to 9. And then if you want to go higher than 9 steps, what they would do is they would have 9 steps, and then you would have like a space, and then 9 more steps. So that counts as units of 9 steps. You don't get more than 9 steps. Now, on the side of every step, there's a statue of the spirit that represents that level of divinity, like an animistic spirit. So like on the first step you would have a statue on the side of like the gods. On the second level you would have the statue of the spirits. On the third level of earth, the fourth level of monsters, on the fifth level of humans, on the sixth level of plants, and so on. Now it would be very expensive to make statues on every single set of stairs that exists in all of the temples. If every stairs needs to have another full-size statue of the spirit of that level of divinity, they would either go bankrupt or they would have a revolt for all the taxes, basically. Maybe, potentially. Depends how rich the country is. But let's say they're poor, then if they're poor, they wouldn't be able to afford this. So sometimes, if you're cheap, you can just put like little bulbs on the side of each step and etch in the name of the spirit of that level of divinity, and that counts as a statue. So in temples along this country, kingdom, whatever, they have many different forms of this bulbs or statue, depending on how rich they are. It ranges from like a simple bulb with just the words etched in, to like more of a figure with the words etched in, to like a full-size statue if you're like really rich. And really, if you look at this, you can right away tell how rich a country is. So if you want to boast, if you want to show off your wealth, that's one of the things you might be doing, is you might want to make bigger statues. Now, I took this one step further and I thought, what if in every, not just temples, but in every other establishment, so in your house or in buildings, you're only allowed to have sets of 8 steps, and then every 8 steps you have to put a little flat region, and then you can continue your 8 steps. And then on each level, you have to put the bulbs with the name etched in of the spirit of that level of divinity, and you would just not put the first one, the head god's level. That's the one you would leave out, because only the temples are allowed to have all 9 levels, because the temples are holy, and you don't have the right to put that one in when you are such little divineness in an everyday house. Only the temple that's more divine can put that one in. And an outsider can look at this and say, what a waste of money and time, but for them, it's probably just like already part of the deal. When you know that you're building a building, you would just, it's not that much extra time to make a little bulb and etch in a name into it and put it on each step of the stairs. In fact, it's kind of like we in real life have railings on stairs. We already put them on a lot of stairs. It's not any extra time. So imagine instead of railings, you have little bulbs, or even on the railings, maybe on each step another bulb. It's not that much extra, so I think this is not too much unrealistic. And for them, they think of it as like every time you walk on steps, you think about your level in the world and how you can do better, maybe. So, I've rambled on for long enough. Make sure to check out the playlist of the other videos that people have made for the prompts of the Pastel Gnome Discord server. And while you're there, you can check out Pastel Gnome stuff and subscribe. And while I'm here, let me tell you about a Discord server that I am a part of that aims to be like a hub of all world building servers. So on the server, people host their own worlds. Everyone gets their own channel to put information about their own worlds. You get to showcase your world, basically. There's a community of people like artists and cartographers and neographers and all the good stuff, and you can ask people to make things for you, and you can make things for other people. And there's also links to like all the different YouTube channels that we find that are regarding world building. There's the subreddits, there's the discords, and it's a cool place. Of course, links are in the description, so come check it out.